All right, so who's starting off? You are?
Welcome back to Out of My Head on YouTube. Today we're talking about the ever controversial Joker. Because it's not just a movie.
It's not just what's for breakfast.
It's...
Hold on, wait, before we get into it, I'm spoiling anything I want to spoil, so
yes.
Peace out if you have a
Spoiler.
problem with that.
This is for people that watch the film.
Right. So, Joker is a movie that you ignore at your peril, your own peril. A movie of a cynicism so vast and pervasive as to render the viewing experience even emptier than its slapdash aesthetic does. Slapdash aesthetic.
I don't know what slapdash means, but its aesthetic was on point.
Yeah, it means quick, easy, sloppy.
No, it was actually really deep. I watched the director breaking it down on YouTube. There was, in the opening scene, he did a bunch of stuff for the aesthetic. Cut out pretty much all of the sky and filled it with buildings to symbolize the Joker being trapped inside Gotham and beating down, and he has no chance at freedom. There's a scene where he's struggling to walk up the stairs. Later in the movie, he then becomes the Joker and is dancing down the stairs while the camera's looking up at him with the blue sky in the background, and he's happy and there's happy music playing. Like, it's very basic symbolism that I'm describing right now, but the entire aesthetic of the movie was great. All the graffiti and the writing on the bathroom walls. I liked it all. I mean,
So I'm KMO, this is Colin, he liked it a lot. This is Alex.
I'm Alex, yep, so... it's a good film. All right.
Colin has not seen Taxi Driver.
He hasn't seen Taxi Driver, so that's why I don't rate it as high, because I feel like it was a Taxi Driver reboot.
speaking of Taxi Driver, who's that star?
Robert De Niro.
A very young
Robert De Niro.
Yep.
You know what else he was in?
All kinds of stuff.
Joker.
Yeah. So anyways, let's just go down the line. How did people feel about the film? How did you feel?
I was engrossed. I thought it was really compelling. It was beautifully designed, beautifully photographed. I mean the shot descriptions that Colin was providing, I think, that is emblematic of the quality and thought that went into the film. The people that don't like it, they seem to have an axe to grind, because they didn't like it before they even went into the theater for the most part.
Yeah.
You can say it's not actual criticism of the movie. They're criticizing something else about it. Not about what happens in it or the way it was done, the story, the camera work. They're not criticizing any of that.
No.
I don't see it.
They're
I see
saying that it
the
doesn't have a
messages the
point.
story gives and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So Colin gave it a 10. I give it an 8. What do you give it?
10 out of 10.
I give the film a 7. I thought the film was great and was an amazing. I thought Joaquin Phoenix's performance and for giving us a really nice sort of understanding of the Joker, and it also made me wanted to see this world continue. So I thought that was amazing. Then the shots and compositions were on par, but the visuals were like kind of like the colors and were kind of standard for that time period, but it's not. The movie's really not about that, and I just thought they did a great job of sort of creating a film, doing a character study, and sort of towing the line between and what I believe the film is about. My interpretation of it, which we'll get to later, but especially with the score. So when the Joker kind of rises up, it's like a Christ story. It's sort of like the Antichrist.
Hey,
which there's other reasons why they did that. But when he rises up and he's walking down that stairs, they put on that sort of rock music, which is obviously created by a pedophile, making you like feel that emotion to cheer for him, to kind of, But then they turn that music right into sort of the offbeat. With Joaquin's performance, where it's his dancing is just slightly off. They do everything just very subtly, slightly off. So this is supposed to be sort of the sports moment where he's coming down, and they give you that for a second, and they want to make you feel uneasy and uncomfortable. So I'm feeling that I'm kind of rooting for this guy, but then they go, they take it down with the other score that they integrated in that. It's like, no, this is. You're supposed to. This is uneasy. So, that's what I think. What the film did great is sort of creating those uneasy feelings and making you feel that, because that's what the movie is about, empathy. Whatever the character is, you sort of empathize with the character, want to go along with the journey, and especially with an anti-hero or a villain. I mean, the best villains are you may empathize with them on some aspect. However, either they take it too far.
I'm getting bored.
They take it too far. So I think they did a great job and I think that's what's confusing people, because it's not a standard, some people just want good, right and wrong, you know what I mean? And have that, and not have any clearly, not feel these mixed feelings, which is, kind of what life is about. It's different than watching a John Wick film. I mean, John Wick kills far more people than the Joker, right? Right? Yet we don't question our feelings of rooting for this character after he just goes through, I think, 100 people in the first John Wick, because he killed a dog.
He deserved it. They killed his dog.
He killed a dog, but his dog was killed.
His dog got killed.
You don't kill an innocent puppy.
Yeah.
And if you kill an innocent puppy, is it right that we should feel that in retaliation, hundreds of men should be killed in retaliation of that? I don't know.
I mean, they killed a puppy. It's not like they repeatedly beat up a disabled old man.
And that goes my argument when they say the Joker is too violent.
Yeah, no.
Because you feel uneasy about the violence? Because if you watch John Wick, he goes through a lot of headshots of people. And I didn't read any reviews questioning the grotesque violence in John Wick.
The violence in Joker, I haven't seen most of John Wick, but I've seen the clips on YouTube. It's a little more intimate.
I also didn't read any criticism of John Wick that it didn't have a clear theme or that its theme was confused. I mean, it had a very clear theme, revenge.
Yeah. Don't kill puppies. So,
which this movie was not revenge.
No.
There was a little hint of that in there, but it was mixed with a lot more. Mental illness, getting beat down, snapping.
So.
Having your meds taken away.
Yeah, don't do that to me.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a great performance with Joaquin Phoenix. I thought it was a great character study. I think it's worth definitely watching and feeling those mixed feelings about things.
Let's get into the messages of the movie, the themes of it, because no one cares about the camera work in the...
Yeah.
So,
Kill
first
the
things
rich.
first, did you laugh at any of the points where no one else in the theater was laughing?
I don't remember. There weren't that many people.
Were you amused
Were you
when...
acting like an incel and laughing?
I laughed at a lot of the movie. Were you amused with the little person? So he kills the guy in his apartment, and then the little guy can't get out of the apartment because he has the chain locked. I was laughing. No one else was laughing. And then he tells a joke on the Bill Murray show, goes something like, knock, knock, it's the cops, your son was hit by a drunk driver, he's dead. And I was the only one to laugh at that, too. Because I have a dark sense of humor.
Yeah, I've read people who got very angry that some people in the theater laughed at those moments, but,
It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny,
Well,
but also
you gotta that's
people
how-
don't necessarily laugh to communicate approval. A lot of times most laughter is nervous laughter to release anxiety.
But also, it's important to note, mentally ill people tend to use, at least the ones in my friend group, tend to use dark humor like that and just say terrible things for a cheap laugh. I don't know why they do that, we do that, but...
This expression, let people laugh where they want to laugh, man. I mean, who cares? It's like at the end of the day.
So there was this really great symbolism at the end where the Joker kills Bill Murray, is that his name? Robert De Niro's character.
Murray Franklin.
Murray.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bill Murray's the guy from Ghostbusters. Anyways, and so, I mean, the character is the Hollywood elite pontificating, oh, I'm better than you. Yeah, so what? I brought you on to make fun of you. At least I didn't do what you did. But behind the camera, the dude was also Robert De Niro, the liberal Hollywood elite who pontificates at you in real life, too. So shooting the character was also kind of like shooting him, and it felt good. I'm sick of that guy telling me what to do.
Well, I think, I mean, everyone has a different interpretation of the film. So, I mean, how do you think, how do you interpret the film based on the ending, and what do you think it is?
Well, when I got home from seeing it, and I saw it yesterday,
Yeah.
I then watched like a couple hours worth of analysis videos. So I've
Yeah,
got
done that.
everybody's theories knocking around in my head. But because parts of the story were clearly delusion,
Yes.
clearly in his head.
It is pulled from his perspective, for sure.
You basically have to question whether any particular part actually happened, or it's his fantasy or his twisted memory of what happened. And Joaquin Phoenix is 44.
He looks a lot older than that in that movie.
Well, because he lost a lot of weight really quickly. He lost like 55 pounds in a
He
short
looked like
period.
a very sick person.
Yeah, but Bruce Wayne was supposed to be like what, 10? So, that age gap between them doesn't really work if they're going to be like nemeses to one another.
Except it's
over the course of a career.
Yeah,
but
it's the
he's-
chemical things that happened with him, and
Well, let
there's
him-
more
let
than
him
one
finish.
Joker.
Let him finish. It's his interpretation.
So one thing you can look at is, one idea of how to see the film is that Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker in these memories is like a person, like an adult, thinking about their childhood, but projecting their adult self-image back into the role of them playing out their youthful adventures or misadventures in this case. So maybe this whole film, this whole presentation is a highly distorted reminiscing on Joker's part, as he is a middle-aged man or older, locked up in Arkham Asylum, basically reliving his emergence as reliving the glory period where he went from being this utterly miserable, really put upon, abused individual into somebody who found his personal power.
So what age do you think he actually is in the movie? The parts of the movie that...
I would say mid-20s.
Okay, so he has a job, so he's not 10 like Bruce Wayne. But also, with the Joker character, he doesn't have an actual backstory throughout the comic history. He's told multiple backstories, and none of them are actually real. He doesn't even know his real backstory. So that's one thing to keep in mind with the Joker movie, but the movie is also not really about the comic book Joker. It's about a character named Arthur Fleck who descends into madness.
So how do you interpret the film?
Arthur Fleck gets beat down by society and also has mental illness and then snaps.
So most of it's true, or whatever you...
Yeah, most of it's true.
Okay. Or most, and that's not...
Is the Batman
Or at least
tie-in part
it
true?
feels true.
Did he actually go to Bruce Wayne's house or, Thomas Wayne's house?
I don't really care. I mean, it makes no difference.
That whole Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne, Alfred, part of the film, for a lot of people didn't work, and for me, you could totally
Didn't bother
jettison all of that, and the film would lose nothing.
Yeah. I mean, my interpretation is very similar to yours, but I did like the Bruce Wayne stuff because it gave some connection. I think the film is you'll never know what's true and what isn't. It's obviously his distorted reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's a character study. So whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. What you're getting is you're understanding how he thinks and why he would act the way he do. A little bit of uneasy empathy or understanding to, and that was the point of the film. I think the filmmakers, that was the intent of it. I think on a societal level, and I don't know if they intended this or not, but I see it as everyone can read into the film however way they want. That's the beauty of it. They can put their own political spin or viewpoint on it, because it makes the point that everyone is in their own distorted reality of how they view the world, and that's how you make decisions. And society in general is not very good at, with fake news and with constant different viewpoints. We're living in a kind of a psychosis society whereby we don't know what the truth is, just like the Joker. And that's the joke.
What did you think about the temporal setting?
That's what he thought was funny.
Well,
none of this is real, even though
What did you think about it being set in 1981?
I didn't have a problem with the time period. I feel like they could have inputted any time period. Maybe it might have been more prevalent if it was today, but I think the filmmaker just loved those types of film, and he wanted to pay homage to Scorsese and sort of those darker films. And that dovetails to my other point, why I think some critics are bashing on a film. I think some critics just feel resentful because they're critics and they have their own taste for movies and they know a whole plethora of catalogs of films that relate with the same subjects that are great in classic films that nobody's ever going to watch. That they've pitched and thought were beautiful films, and now they get a film that's very similar to that, and they're resentful of the fact that the only reason why it's going to be successful and people are going to watch it when there's probably films that cover the same subject matter that are better is because it's attached to a DC or Marvel IP, and I think they're just resentful of that. And it's clear because then Scorsese comes out and says, comic book films aren't cinema.
But Scorsese had a behind-the-scenes attachment to the Joker.
He was a producer for a while, but he had to walk off and because he's working on another project.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is I think, some of the critics, there's resentment there. I think they resent the fact that, everyone's talking about that, and there's a huge audience that's going to watch a film that's very similar to films that they probably reviewed and critiqued and are amazing. They're amazing films, but they're resentful of the fact that nobody's going to watch them. And then the other half, just they need to get people to read their critiques, so they're going to have to find some sort of extreme angle so people read them. Yeah.
Well, the negative reviews that I read, they focused almost entirely on the fact that the people who like this are white, and that white anger is illegitimate in any instance, any case, and any story that involves, a mass uprising of white people who do violence is just dangerous. And
it was a mass uprising.
Well, that's what I call.
People.
That's what I say. The joke is. The joke is you're going to interpret. It's so muddled in its positions. Okay. That it's there to interpret it any way you want. So obviously some woke people took it as an offense. But it's not like white dude rises up and bashes minorities. He kills the very same thing that the first people he kills are the very same thing that woke people are, crying about, like privileged white young broker dudes, what were they picking on? They were picking on some minority.
Harassing a woman.
Yeah.
And the Joker, maybe they don't like the Joker being the pallbearer for their ideology. Maybe that's how they saw the film. I think that's the joke. The joke is you're going to read into it however way you want.
I think it says a lot about a person, whether they empathize with the movie or if they take offense to the movie, if they feel like the movie is calling them out. Because people on both sides could fall either way. But if we don't wrap this up soon, I'm not going to have enough time to edit and upload it. So, final question. After watching this incredibly violent and politically motivated, inspiring movie, do either one of you feel like wearing a clown mask and rioting?
I could take or leave the mask.
Oh yeah, no.
I had a Guy Fawkes mask, and it gets.
I have one over there.
Yeah.
Gets all moist really quickly on the inside. Face paint would be better, but I don't even need that.
Anyways, my answer is a little bit.
Alex, you looking to riot?
No, I mean, I think the joke, and I think you can interpret it any way you want, and the downtrodden person. This is how people look at lives. This is how we justify our actions as all human beings. And I think that's what people don't want to see, is that we justify ourselves as the victim and we come up with reasons, to lash out. And I mean, obviously the Joker, and especially when you add the type of mental disability that they didn't define that either, but there's ideations of being a superhero, or ideations of being a Christ-like figure, or rising up above and defeating all that's wrong in the world. So, that's just thing. That's human nature, and most normal people can get past that and say, things aren't going to go the way I see it, even if I'm downtrodden, or, I feel like I've been wronged. The mature person's going to take a step back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The one.
All right. Well, let's take a big step back.